Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dumb One, and I am back with another video. What in the Carmen San Diego going on with the Cleveland Cavaliers? They just can't just get a win. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Basically, this article is coming from NBCSports.com. I'm going to have the article in the description, which, by the way, I'm also going to have my latest video uploading on my channel that I just my new channel I started a couple of months back, Messing Media U. Go check out that channel as well. Subscribe if you enjoy, you would not be disappointed. But let's quickly get into this article, all right? Basically, the Cleveland Cavaliers are in trouble. Okay, and from a basketball perspective, before the season even started, hell, before even preseason started, we all, including myself, started, looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers roster, the parts that they assembled for the Cleveland Cavaliers. We all were in agreement that now they're deep. In every position. They're deep at the point guard, shooting guard, always small forward, power forward, and center as well. And we was talking about the possibility of, now since this team is deep, they have the chance, the opportunity to compete with the Golden State Warriors. Now, I said before the season even started, and this was before they added Dwayne Wade, okay? But I said that, yes, what they assembled is very good. They're deep. They still are going to have problems with the Golden State Warriors. And a lot of the better teams are going to give them a run for their money. Okay? They're still going to blow away the East. They're still going to be the juggernaut of the East. They're still going to be the beast of the East. However, they're going to have problems, particularly with the Golden State Warriors, San Antonio Spurs, the Milwaukee Bucks, and I forgot the other team, because the other team I have a blank right now. They're going to have problems with teams that's got the Oklahoma City Thunder, okay? And that's before they even traded for Carmelo Anthony, all right? And yes, the Houston Rockets. So they're going to have problems with those teams, all right? But who would have thunk, out of 5 games, they even had problems with the Orlando Magic, the last team, and the New York Knickerbockers. The New York Knickerbockers, there's virtually nobody on that roster other than Porzingis. And to me, 3 things that are going to be wrong that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to have to adjust is, 1, an identity, okay? Yes, they can score, but on the flip side of that, they can't defend. Now, everyone thought that Jay Crowder was supposed to be the Durantula stopper. I think he's going to have a hard time with Durant. He could probably get in front of his face, but that's as far as his abilities are going to allow him to do. When you're talking about Dwayne Wade, I said Dwayne Wade's probably going to match up with Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is a shooter. Even though he's athletic, his claim to fame is jump shots and jumpers and 3-points and 3-point shooting. And as long as Dwayne Wade is in his face, he can decently defend Klay Thompson. Now, the horse in the barn, so to say, to me was, who's going to stop Steph Curry? All right, and let's just be fair and let's be honest and let's be real. Even Isaiah Thomas is going to have a hard time with Steph Curry. I think it'll be more manageable. But when Derrick Rose matches up with Steph Curry, they're going to be chomping at the bit. When Steph Curry sees Derrick Rose defending him, that's going to be a problem, okay? So their identity, yes, they're scoring, but they're not defending. They're not doing team defense. They're not doing individual defense. They're not doing perimeter defense. They're not doing low post defense. They have holes all over their roster when you're talking about defense, okay? The second thing is, to me, is chemistry, okay? You have to, and I said this in multiple videos concerning the Cleveland Cavaliers, you have to understand this, and you have to understand the game of basketball. When you have so many moving parts, so many new faces, and you're plugging them in, you're implementing them in your system, which that's another thing we're going to talk about, it takes a while, okay? During this run, this stretch of games they have played, they have changed their identity and changed the way they want to play, okay? And people are going to say, well, how do they do that, Chris? By, one, putting a Dwayne Wade in the roster. And instead of just seeing how it, on the starting lineup, and just to see how it will ultimately work, they came into an agreement that now they're going to put J.R. Smith in the roster. So now you went from a slasher, an ISO player, to a player that the only thing he's got going on for himself right now is jumpers and three-point shots. Okay, so now you have to change the team slightly to cater to J.R. Smith's needs. Okay, Kevin Love, which to me I thought it was a good idea to put him at the 5 spot, so that way he doesn't have to defend the best power forward or the best small forward on the opposite team. All right, and now he can showcase his style by getting those corner threes, those jumpers, those uncontested rebounds. Yes, Kevin Love can rebound, and you can get the very best out of Kevin Love by him playing the 5 spot. The problem is, who's going to guard the center on the other side? Okay, Porzingis was running circles around Kevin Love, and Kevin Love is not known for no defensive threat, but I always stated, even having him at the 5 spot, you're still going to have problems. All right, yes, he couldn't keep up with the 4, the 3, particularly in today's NBA. Those individuals are masters on the perimeter, okay? And like Boogie Cousins, they even lost to Boogie Cousins and them, the Pelicans, without Anthony Davis, by the way. Oh yeah, they had Anthony Davis. And that was the problem I had with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now you're so small, when you play a squad like the Pelicans, which is not that many teams that can duplicate what the Pelicans are doing, but when you play a team with a big man in the middle, now that's another element of problems that you're going to have to ultimately adjust. They are a older team, okay? And when I mean old, they're not on their last legs, but they are an older team, okay? Jeff Green been around for a minute, okay? Derrick Rose has been around for a minute. The same can be said for LeBron James, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, Christian Thompson. He's a young guy, but the only thing you can get from Christian Thompson and his claim of fame, the thing that he hangs his hat on, is his defense, his perimeter play. And when they implement him back into the lineup, people were not scared of Christian Thompson no more, because everyone saw the blueprint on Christian Thompson, which is he's not that juggernaut of a defender. A lot of people were saying. And the Golden State Warriors shown that in the finals. That's the reason why Christian Thompson got sent to the bench, okay? Not because he's a bad player, but he's a liability on the offensive end. All he can give you is defense. All right. I always stated that they should have ran a few plays for Christian Thompson so he can also contribute in a small fashion to the offensive side of things. Okay. So you're an older team. You're not implementing defense. You're constantly changing the roster, which means now it's going to take even longer for these players to figure each other out. Okay, you have a massive overturn in players. You added players that had documented injury problems throughout their career. Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose, to a smaller extent Kevin Love, but he hasn't missed that much significant time. All right. And LeBron James, even though I have seen all the workout videos in the off season, and he's in the gym, he's weightlifting, he's doing all this, but at the end of the day, yes, he's bulked up to a T. But with basketball, you really don't need to be the most you don't really need to have a lot of muscles to play basketball. Okay, you still, at the end of the day, it's not about how physical you are. It's about how fluid you can be on the court. Okay, your body has to be fluid. It can't be stiff. And that's the problem with LeBron James right now. Now, a lot of people think that LeBron James is out of shape. I disagree with that. LeBron James is not out of shape. The problem with LeBron James is he needs to lose some of the mass off of him. Okay, you know, and he's an older player. He can't do. He can't boulder people and go down for the tomahawk dunk, and I mean, that player is almost no more. Okay, LeBron James been around for a long time. All right, when he was in his prime, at his apex, he was dominating in the NBA when he was with the Miami Heat. LeBron James should have listened to a lot of people that say, "Hey, look. Yes, you're athletic. You're strong. You're a physical beast. We get that. Okay? You work out religiously. Okay? But at the end of the day, when you get older, you can't depend on your athleticism much longer. You can't depend on your size, girth, and mass any longer. Okay? Yes, you're gonna look good. Okay? But you should add other things, other elements to your resume, your low post offensive game. Okay, you're going to have to be a better free throw shooter. You can't be afraid to take free throws, because a lot of people are going to foul you. So you might as well get use of working on your free throw, your jump shot. When you extend beyond the basket, that needs to be worked on. Okay, and it seems like LeBron James hasn't done that. All LeBron James has been working for is what he's been doing for the past 6 or 7 years. Okay, even when people were telling him that in his first stint with Cleveland, work on your low post game, because you got to think about the future. He didn't like when people were telling him that. And when Pat Riley implemented that, he finally did it. He went, I think he spent a summer with Akeem Olajuwon to work on his low post game. Okay, but LeBron James is basically the same player that he was 6 years ago. Okay, nothing has changed. He hasn't really added anything to his repertoire. Okay, a low post game, he worked on that with the Miami Heat. But when you got Pat Riley in your ear, you have to pay attention and listen to what he said. And Pat Riley was basically molding him into a player that was going to add those things. But the the first thing Pat Riley had to do was break down the wall between the two. Okay. And I'm not saying it's all LeBron James' fault, but what I am saying is, had he listened, he would have been more prepared today if he would have listened yesterday. I mean, yesterday meaning when he was a member of the Miami Heat. Okay, so you got an older LeBron James. You got an older team. The identity, we don't know what they're trying to do, and you got too much. You got too much going on with the roster. It's bad enough you're trying to gel these guys together because they hadn't played last year. Okay. And you added this through free agency and trades. You got to deal with this. Plus, you got to deal with the fact you got an older roster. And plus, you got to deal with the fact that you got certain players on that roster that only can do one thing. Okay, they're not. They can't do several things. They can only their claim to fame. The best thing that they can do is what they depend on. J.R. Smith depends on the 3-point shot. Okay, that's why a lot of people think he's a streaky shooter. Sometimes he gets them, sometimes he doesn't. Okay, well, J.R. Smith needs to add more to the his claim to fame. Okay, it's just like LeBron James. Okay, now Kyrie Irving is gone. Okay, so now you have to think of yourself, which he does think of himself as an alpha, but at the same time, you got to you clearly see that there's players on your roster that's lacking certain things, lacking certain functions, okay? And LeBron James had immediately added that in the offseason, okay? And that's what's going on. I don't see this turning around. LeBron James, after the press conference, after all the losses in the press conference, saying it's early, we have time to fix it, which they do. It's early. They do have time to fix it. However, to me, I look at it like this. After 15 or 20 games, you are what you are. You are what your record is, okay? And if your record's not good in the first 15, 20 games, not necessarily looking at the wins and losses, but you just look at the tendencies that the team is having problems with, okay? Team defense, if they don't work on that fast, is going to be a problem for them later on down the road. For any Cavs fans out there, forget about the finals. You need to be worrying about the playoffs, okay? If you're having a hard time with the Magic, the Knicks, which they are cellar dwellers, the Brooklyn Nets beat the Cleveland Cavaliers without their best player, okay? So, and you had LeBron James playing the point, which he is a point guard and a small forward body. I get that. However, you know, by putting him at the point guard, well, who's going to fill in for LeBron James at the small? Okay, yeah, you had Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder can play some defense, but I always told you guys Jay Crowder wasn't known as an offensive guy. I feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers should stop trying to outscore teams and just play better team defense, because you have individuals that can play defense, okay? It starts with LeBron James, Crowder, and Christian Thompson. If you have those three guys on the roster, which, you know, I feel like if you place them on the roster and, you know, you can throw in a Kevin Love, and you can throw in a Dwayne Wade, a J.R. Smith, and even a Derrick Rose. I feel like that's a good enough roster to be decent until Isaiah Thomas comes to fold, come back from his injuries. And when Isaiah Thomas comes back in, okay, now you can slot him at the point. He's not going to run roughshod on defense, but he's a better fit defensive-wise than Derrick Rose or Derrick Rose, and I forgot the other individual. I can't think of him right now. I feel like he's a better person on defense. Okay, Dwayne Wade, you have to use Dwayne Wade and understand this from this. Dwayne Wade needs to hurry up and get back in the offense. In the starting lineup. But you can't depend on Dwayne Wade as an offensive guy like he was in Miami. Those days are behind him. But he can play better defense than J.R. Smith. Okay? Now, they're talking about trading J.R. Smith for the point guard for Phoenix, and I forgot his name, but everyone's gonna know. But I think if they trade J.R. Smith with that number 10 or number 15 pick that they got from Boston, just to get that point guard, Bledsoe, if they trade for him, Bledsoe, that's just a short-term fix. That's like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, okay? It's going to stop some bleeding, but not all of the bleeding, and you're still going to have problems, all right? And I don't think that's going to be the answer. And now you're too loaded on the point guard position. You really don't have anything other than Dwayne Wade on the 2 guard. You're still deep in the small, the power, and the center. I just don't think Dwayne Wade can be able to play a full season if you utilize Dwayne Wade, watch his minutes, and let him sit out on some games. Dwayne Wade can be there when you need him the most, which is the postseason. Okay, so this problem is not going to be this problem is not easy. It's not going to be fixed overnight. But I feel like they need to slow the pace down, slow the tempo down. Like I said in several videos, when they had Kyrie Irving, I felt like the Cleveland Cavaliers were trying to duplicate what was beneficial for the Golden State Warriors. You have to realize the Golden State Warriors are going to be a juggernaut on offense because they got a lot of skillful players on the offensive end, okay? Which the Cleveland Cavaliers don't, all right? But the Cleveland Cavaliers should be more of a defensive team, similar to like the Detroit Pistons, all right? They have to, they have to be a defensive team, okay? Which is, I know it's going to be hard to do in this type of league, but that's all the Cleveland Cavaliers can manage and salvage for this team. This team is not going to outscore the better teams. They're just going to be in games, and the majority of those games they're going to lose, okay? They need stoppage. They need players and a team. They need players that are good on the defensive end. They need to implement team defense. That's the only way. You got to get physical with the Golden State Warriors, with the Oklahoma City Thunder, with the San Antonio Spurs, okay? You got the Boston Celtics, okay? The Milwaukee Bucks. You got to be more of a defensive threat, okay? Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe, please. Notification squad in the building. Hit that notification icon, that notification bell, so it'll let you know when my next video or live stream is going down. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dom One, and I am out.